Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your sources and really unearth the most potent insights. Today, we're digging into a specific ancient text. It lays out this profound and incredibly practical roadmap for living. Seriously, it's a roadmap for anyone who's, serious about their personal growth, their ethical compass, and truly becoming who they aspire to be.
Yeah, you've really hit on something crucial there. Our source for this deep dive is an excerpt from the Mahāassapurasuttaṃ. It's often called the Great Discourse at Assapura. And it's a foundational text that, well, it challenges our understanding of what it truly means to be a spiritual person or seeker. It's less about the labels, and much more about consistent progressive action.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our mission today is to extract the step-by-step guidance this ancient text offers and reveal its surprisingly relevant insights into character development and inner liberation. You might actually find it offers a unique perspective on what it means to be well-informed in the deepest sense, not just about what you know, but, well, how you live. So the sutta begins in this town, Assapura, and right away it hits you with a fundamental question. The Buddha addresses the monks, the bhikkhus. They're called samaṇā, which means something like recluses or contemplatives.
Right.
And he asks them, look, people call you samaṇā, and when someone asks you, you say, yes, I am a samaṇā. So the question is, how then do you truly live up to that identity, that name?
It's a powerful question.
And the purpose of this whole practice, the text actually says, is to ensure that all the support you receive, robes, food, lodging, medicine, is fruitful.
Fruitful, yeah.
Not just for the person giving it, but for you, the practitioner. It's about making your spiritual journey productive, successful.
That's such a profound challenge, isn't it? It forces us, and you listening, to ask, how do your actions align with the labels you give yourself, or maybe the aspirations you hold?
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about what you say you are.
Precisely. It's what you do and what you become. And, the very first quality the sutta mentions for making one a true samaṇā, or brāhmaṇā basically, a truly cultivated person, is being endowed with moral shame and dread of wrongdoing. Hiri and a tapa.
Moral shame and dread of wrongdoing. Okay, that sounds almost, counterintuitive today, maybe. We often try to avoid shame. How does this text frame these qualities so they're actually, beneficial for growth? Is it, like you said, an internal compass guiding you before you even act?
It absolutely is. Think of it less as debilitating guilt and more like a proactive self-awareness. It's your internal alarm system. It's this deep respect for your own integrity. It makes you recoil from actions that would diminish who you really are or compromise your values, whether that's personal conduct or, say, professional ethics.
I see. So it's protective.
Yes. And what's fascinating here is the immediate warning the text gives right after mentioning this. Do not be content with this, for there is still more to be done.
Okay.
This sets such a crucial tone for the entire teaching. It emphasizes that real growth is continuous. It's never static.
And that idea that more to be done, it keeps coming up, doesn't it? Like a refrain.
It does, after every single step.
And those next steps, they're about purity of conduct, like right across the board. The text talks about conduct in your body, your speech, your mind, and even your livelihood, how you earn a living. And it describes each of these as needing to be pure, open, not hidden, restrained.
Open, not hidden.
Yeah.
That's key.
And what's really interesting is that it explicitly says you shouldn't praise oneself or disparage others based on achieving this purity.
Right. It's not for show.
Exactly. It feels like a call for, radical transparency and integrity. Not just outwardly, but inwardly, too. A kind of deep authenticity.
You've absolutely nailed it. It's not about putting on an external performance of goodness. It's about a genuine internal transformation. And that recurring phrase, do not be content, there is still more to be done. It isn't meant to be some relentless demand, I think. It's more like an invitation to keep refining, to keep growing, understanding that self-mastery is, it's a journey. It's not a final destination you just arrive at.
That makes a lot of sense. So once we start trying to align our actions with our values, cultivate that internal integrity, what's the next step on this path, according to the sutta?
Well, it then leads us into cultivating awareness in our sort of day-to-day lives. It starts with what it calls sense restraint.
Sense restraint.
Yeah, or guarding the doors. Basically, It means guarding the six senses: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind itself. The idea is to prevent Unwholesome states like greed or discontent from just arising automatically when you encounter things through your senses, sense objects.
So not getting carried away by that first impression, or like focusing on all the little details that might lead you into trouble.
Exactly, not grasping at the signs or details, as the text puts it.
So it's kind of like having a mental filter,
Mm.
or maybe being a discerning editor for what you let into your mind through sight, sound, everything.
That's a good way to put it.
Maintaining control over your reactions, not letting every little thing pull you off course.
Mm-hmm. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you start to see it's about intentionality, even in the most basic actions.
Intentionality, right.
Absolutely. And this intentionality then extends to something as fundamental as, well, eating.
Eating, okay.
Yeah, the sutta talks about moderation in eating, reflecting wisely on why you're eating, it says. Not for sport, not for indulgence or adornment or just beautification.
Okay, so what is the purpose then?
It's quite simple, really, for
Yeah.
the body's sustenance, basically, to keep going, to continue the spiritual life, also to end old feelings like hunger or pain from hunger, and to prevent new ones from arising, and ultimately to live blamelessly and comfortably.
Wow. It's a reminder that even the most routine things we do, like eating, can be moments for mindful practice, not just mindless consumption.
Precisely. And then building on that awareness, there's this idea of devotion to wakefulness.
Wakefulness, like staying alert.
Yes, a kind of vigilance of the mind. The text describes purifying the mind from obstructive states, things that block clarity. It suggests doing this by walking and sitting meditation during the day and also during the first part of the night.
Okay, so active practice, what about sleep?
During the middle watch of the night, it says you should lie down mindfully on your right side, aware, and with the clear intention to get up again.
So it's not about avoiding sleep.
Not at all. It's about making sleep a conscious part of this larger practice of mental purification. Then, in the last watch, before dawn, you rise again to continue purifying the mind, maybe through more walking and sitting.
That sounds intense. It sounds like a masterclass in sustained focus and mental endurance. Those are skills absolutely crucial for, well, anyone trying to learn deeply or perform at a high level today, right?
Definitely. And this deep awareness extends to every single action. The sutta is very specific here. It talks about being clearly comprehending in all activities, going forth and returning, looking ahead and looking around, bending and stretching your limbs.
Wow, everything.
Everything. Wearing your robes, eating, drinking, chewing, tasting, even going to the toilet, walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking up, speaking, and even being silent.
That really highlights it, doesn't it? Mindfulness isn't just some formal meditation you do for 10 minutes and then forget about.
Exactly. It's meant to be a continuous state. Present moment awareness woven into the entire fabric of your daily life. It's a complete integration of awareness into just being.
So after mastering these, let's say, daily habits of awareness and cultivating that deep internal integrity, the path seems to lead towards even deeper, more profound inner work. Is that right? What's the next stage?
That's right. As the practice deepens, the focus shifts. The Buddha talks about seeking solitude, finding quiet places like forests, the root of a tree, mountain caves, even charnel grounds, or just out in the open air.
Okay, solitude. For what purpose?
This is where the really big work begins. Actively overcoming what the text calls the 5 hindrances, the paññaka nivarana.
Oh, 5 hindrances, okay.
Think of these as common mental obstacles, or maybe like pollutants that cloud the mind and weaken our ability to see clearly or act wisely.
What are they?
They are. Sensory desire, like craving pleasant experiences, ill will or aversion, sloth and torpor, which is like mental dullness or laziness, restlessness and remorse, that agitated, regretful mind, and finally, skeptical doubt, especially doubt about the path itself.
Right, I can see how those would definitely cloud your judgment or energy.
They really do. But the sutta provides these incredibly vivid analogies for the relief you feel when you overcome them.
Oh yeah, I saw those.
Yeah.
They really make the abstract feel concrete. Sensory desire is like being released from debt, with profit even.
Exactly.
Ill will is like recovering from a serious illness. Sloth and torpor is like being freed from prison. Restlessness and remorse, that's like being freed from slavery. And skeptical doubt is like safely crossing a dangerous, scary desert path.
They give you a real feeling for the liberation that comes from letting these mental states go, don't they?
Absolutely. When we talk about, say, sensory desire being like released from debt, how does that really feel in practice? Can you make that tangible?
That's a great question. Well, imagine constantly being pulled by distractions. Maybe endlessly scrolling on your phone, always feeling that little itch for the next notification, the next hit of information. That's a form of sensory desire, right?
Yeah, I know that feeling.
So when you manage to put the phone down or resist the urge, and that constant craving actually subsides, that feeling of relief, that mental space opening up,
Okay.
that is like the profit you feel from being debt-free. It's a genuine inner freedom, a spaciousness you didn't have before.
That makes perfect sense. It really reframes it.
And that's why this section is so powerful. It frames these inner struggles not as like personal moral failings, but as burdens. Burdens that obstruct our well-being and our freedom, just like real-world problems like debt or illness do.
So once these hindrances are, let's say, temporarily overcome or calmed down,
Yeah.
what then?
Then the text describes these progressively deeper states of meditative concentration and absorption. They're known as the four jhanas.
The four jhānas. Okay, these sound important.
They are stages of deep mental unification and tranquility. The first jhana is described as being secluded from sense pleasures and those unwholesome states we just talked about, the hindrances. It's accompanied by initial and sustained mental application like focusing the mind, and it's born of that seclusion. And it comes with rapture and pleasure, piti and sukha.
Rapture and pleasure born from seclusion and focus. What's the analogy for that one?
The analogy is like a skilled bath attendant or their apprentice kneading bath powder with water. They thoroughly moisten it, pervade it completely so that not a single dry particle remains, yet no water drips out.
Wow, so a feeling of being completely saturated with this inner joy and focus.
Exactly. It's not just some mystical state. You can see it as a blueprint for cultivating profound inner stability and joy. It shows that deep peace is an accessible skill, something you can develop, not just a fleeting emotion, vital for sustained focus in any complex endeavor, really.
Okay, so that's the first jhana. What comes next?
Then comes the second jhana. Here, that initial and sustained mental effort, the focusing work, it ceases. It becomes effortless. This leads to deep inner tranquility and a unification of the mind. It's born purely of concentration, and it still has that rapture and pleasure, but it feels different, more settled.
Effortless focus and joy. What's the image for that?
This one is likened to a deep lake or pond where cool springs are welling up from within. The entire lake is permeated, suffused, filled with this cool water born from its own depths, with no water coming in from the outside.
Ah, so it's like a spontaneous welling up of peace and clarity from inside. Undisturbed mental flow.
Precisely. Deep, undisturbed flow.
Okay, jhana 3.
In the third jhana, that initial intense rapture, the piti, begins to fade away. You remain equanimous, balanced, and deeply mindful. And you experience a more subtle, pervasive pleasure with the body. It's a deep, abiding contentment.
So less excitement, more deep contentment and mindfulness. Like feeling completely at ease and present.
Very much so. The analogy here is beautiful. It's like blue, red, or white lotuses that are born in the water, grow in the water, and remain submerged. From their roots to their tips, they are completely permeated, suffused, filled with cool water.
That's lovely. A deep, settled satisfaction that permeates everything. Like reaching a state of complete mental and physical harmony after, maybe, a real breakthrough insight.
That's a great way to think about it. And finally, there's the fourth jhana.
Final one.
Here, you abandon even that subtle pleasure and also all pain, both physical and mental, that had already disappeared earlier. What remains is a state beyond pleasure and pain. It's characterized by pure equanimity and pure mindfulness, utter stillness and clarity.
Beyond pleasure and pain, pure equanimity. What's the analogy for this ultimate stillness?
This is compared to a person sitting down, completely covered from head to foot with a clean white cloth. There's no part of their body left untouched by the white cloth.
So a sense of complete purity, stillness, being fully enveloped in clarity.
Yes. And this highest state isn't just about being profoundly still, although it is that. It's the ultimate mental clarity, the kind of clarity that allows for completely unbiased observation and deep understanding, totally unclouded by attraction or aversion, pleasure or pain. A powerful state for truly comprehending any complex system, internal or external.
Wow. So these jhanas are incredibly deep states. What happens after achieving this kind of clarity? Does the sutta describe what insights arise from that state?
It does. After establishing that profound stability and clarity of the fourth jhana, the sutta describes achieving 3 ultimate insights, or knowledges. Tavijja, the 3 true knowledges that lead to liberation.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first is the recollection of past lives, the ability to direct that clear, concentrated mind to remember one's own previous existences, not just vaguely, but one life, two lives, hundreds, thousands, back through many eons of the universe's contraction and expansion. Remembering details. I was there with such a name, such a family, such an appearance, such experiences, such a lifespan.
Incredible detail. Is there an analogy for this?
Yes, it's compared to a person who travels from their own village to another village, then maybe to another, and then finally returns home. Upon returning, they can clearly remember, from my village, I went to that village, there I stood like this, sat like that, spoke like this, was silent like that. From there, I went to the next village, and so on. They recall the whole journey clearly.
So it gives this incredibly vast perspective on cause and effect,
Yeah.
on the continuity of experience beyond just this one life.
Exactly. A profound understanding of the long arc of action and result of karma.
What's the second knowledge?
The second is often called the divine eye, or the knowledge of the passing away and reappearance of beings. With that same purified, concentrated mind, now described as like a superhuman divine eye, one can see other beings dying and being reborn according to their actions, according to their karma. Seeing how wholesome actions lead to good rebirths, beautiful, fortunate, and unwholesome actions lead to inferior, ugly, unfortunate rebirth.
Seeing karma in action, basically. What's the analogy here?
This is like a person with good eyesight standing where two roads cross, perhaps between two houses with clear entrances. They can see people entering the houses, leaving them, walking back and forth on the road. They see the whole picture, the movement and destination of beings based on their choices. It provides deep insight into the interconnectedness of actions and their results across all beings.
Okay, past lives, seeing karma. What's the third and final knowledge? That sounds like the culmination.
It is. This is the knowledge of the destruction of the taints, or āsavas in Sanskrit, āsavas in Pali. This is the big aha moment, the ultimate liberation.
Taints. What exactly does the text mean by taints? Are these like the hindrances we talked about earlier?
They are related, but deeper, more fundamental. Think of them as deep-seated defilements or effluents of the mind, ingrained habits of thinking and reacting that bind us to the cycle of suffering and rebirth. The sutta usually highlights three primary ones: the taint of sensory desire, kamāsava, the taint of craving for continued existence, bhavāsava, and the taint of ignorance, specifically ignorance of the true nature of reality, avijjosava.
Sensory desire, existence, ignorance. Okay, so the third knowledge is understanding these.
It's more than just understanding about them. It's directly knowing, with that profoundly clear mind, four things about suffering, often called the Four Noble Truths, applied specifically to these taints. One knows directly, this truly is suffering. Then, this is the origin of suffering, which is craving, rooted in these taints. Then, this is the cessation of suffering, the ending of that craving and the taints. And finally, this is the path leading to the cessation of suffering.
So it's realizing the taints themselves, how they arise, how they cease, and the way to make them cease.
Exactly. And the direct result of this penetrating insight. The mind is liberated from these taints. It's freed. And the person knows with certainty. Destroyed is birth. The holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no more returning to any state of being. Complete freedom.
Wow. Is there an analogy for this final liberating insight?
Yes. It's compared to a pool of water in a mountain ravine, clear, limpid, completely untroubled. A person with good eyesight standing on the bank can see everything clearly inside. The shells, the gravel, the pebbles, even the schools of fish swimming about or resting.
Absolute clarity. Seeing reality just as it is without distortion.
That's the essence of it. It's not just intellectual understanding, though that's part of the path. It's this profound, direct knowing, a seeing things as they really are, that results in complete inner freedom, a true liberation from the root causes of suffering.
It's a vision of reality that fundamentally transforms one's entire relationship with experience.
It absolutely is, a fundamental shift.
So, after laying out this entire path, from basic ethics all the way to this ultimate liberating knowledge, how does the sutta conclude? Does it circle back to those initial titles like samaṇā?
It does in a really interesting way. It concludes by redefining what truly makes a practitioner worthy of these respected titles. Samaṇā, recluse. Brāhmaṇā, often meaning a holy person here. Hataka, one who has bathed, signifying inner purification. Vedagu, a master of knowledge or Veda. Sotyo, one learned in the tradition who has heard. Aryo, a noble one, or Araha, a worthy one fully liberated.
Okay, so how does it define them?
Here's the really surprising and I think profound insight. For every single one of these different titles, the ultimate definition given is exactly the same.
The same definition for all of them. What is it?
Each title is truly earned, the text says. By the abandonment, or the calming, or the removal, different verbs are used. But the meaning is consistent of evil, unwholesome states. Specifically, those states that defile the mind, that lead to renewed existence, that are accompanied by distress, that result in suffering, and that lead inevitably to future birth, aging, and death.
Wow. So it's not about an outward label you adopt or a specific lineage or performing a certain ritual. It all comes down to this internal transformation, the purification, the letting go of what causes suffering.
Exactly. That really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? True spiritual identity, or even true mastery in this sense, isn't just bestowed by a name or a role. It's earned through consistent, dedicated inner work. It underlines that these titles aren't just honorifics for a particular social status or belief system. They are fundamentally descriptors of a profound internal change, an achievement reached by diligently understanding and letting go of the mind's inner defilements.
What an incredible journey through this ancient text, really, from those foundational ethical steps, the importance of just basic conduct,
The groundwork.
all the way through cultivating daily awareness, tackling those mental hindrances, reaching profound states of meditation, and finally achieving those liberating insights. The Mahāassapurasuttaṃ provides such a comprehensive and frankly challenging blueprint for genuine transformation.
It really does. And it underscores that idea, I think, that progress on any path, especially one aiming for deep knowledge or self-mastery, whether you call it spiritual or something else, requires that consistent effort and a refusal to just settle for surface-level achievements or understanding. That constant refrain, that emphasis on continuously seeking what more is to be done, is such a powerful takeaway. It applies to any pursuit of excellence, any field where you want to go deep.
Absolutely. So, wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening right now? If you're a learner, maybe striving to be truly well-informed in your chosen field, or maybe you're simply aiming to live a more meaningful, more integrated life. Perhaps this deep dive into the Mahāassapurasuttaṃ leaves you with, well, this provocative thought to consider. How might embracing this ancient text call to continuous inner work, with becoming aligned in your actions, truly aware in your daily life, crystal clear in your intentions, and willing to confront your own inner obstacles, how might that illuminate your own path? Your path to becoming not just truly well-informed in what you know, but perhaps truly wise in how you live, and ultimately in who you become.